Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest edition of Wow, Lynch, Wow, dedicated to filmmaker David Lynch and inspired by the triumphant return of Twin Peaks. A friendly warning to everyone who isn't caught up on all 13 episodes of the new Twin Peaks. There will be spoilers and they will begin shortly, so viewers and listeners be warned. Part 13 starts with a fired-up Conga Line. The Mitchum brothers, Cooper, and the showgirl trio are all having a grand old time, and this scares the shit out of Tony. He was expecting the Mitchum brothers to kill Cooper, but instead they're merrily parading around with him. Tony hides, and the partygoers march their way into Battling Bud's office. The showgirl trio present him with gifts. Battling Bud thanks them for the gifts. Everyone is very fired up, and they reform a Conga Line and exit just as merrily as they had entered. Tony is by now hiding under his desk, and he calls Mr. Todd with the bad news. Duncan expects Tony to remedy the situation in a day, and Tony looks terrified. There's a truck outside unloading a gym set. A Silver Mustang casino employee asks Janey-E where she wants their new gym set. That and a nice new car are gifts from the Mitchum brothers. Janey-E tells them to put it in the backyard, and she's overjoyed by the pretty red bow atop her brand new vehicle. Sonny Jim is using every square inch of his incredible new gym set. This elite-level gym set is one of the greatest gym sets of all time, complete with its very own built-in light show. Janey-E is absolutely thrilled by all of this. In western Montana, Bad Coop is seeking out Ray, and once again seems to have been trapped by Ray. But Ray's boss wants to have some fun with Bad Coop first, so they invite him inside and give him a proposition. He can either turn around and leave now, or take on the big boss Resno in an arm wrestling contest. If Bad Coop loses, then Resno becomes his boss too. If Coop wins, he becomes their boss, but he doesn't want to become their boss. He just wants Ray. Coop at first taunts them before accepting the challenge. On the way to the table, Resno hit Bad Coop with a cheap shot in retaliation for his earlier taunt. The arm wrestling match commences, and at first, Bad Coop seems to be almost overpowered. But Bad Coop's just toying with him, and he brings them back to the starting position at will, taunting Resno in the process. Ray doesn't like what he's seeing, and Resno warns him not to move as the room full of ruffians continue to watch on. Bad Coop ultimately puts an end to his fun and the match, breaking Resno's arm before killing him with a single strike. The ruffians are absolutely awestruck by what they just witnessed, and they gladly hand Ray over. Bad Coop shoots Ray with a wounding shot to the leg and interrogates him. Bad Coop learns that Ray was hired by Philip Jeffries to kill him. Jeffries set up the prison escape with Warden Murphy, and Ray was instructed to kill Bad Coop and then place a ring on his finger. A ring that was given to him by a mystery guard when he was set free. Bad Coop instructs Ray to put the ring on his left finger. The ruffians watch on bewildered by what they see, and look who it is. It's Richard Horn. Didn't take him long to find some good company after beating his grandmother and fleeing Twin Peaks. Bad Coop gets a list from Ray that has the coordinates on it, and last Ray heard, Jeffries was at a place called the Dutchman's. At that, Bad Coop shoots Ray dead in the head, having now learned everything he wanted. The ring vanishes, and Richard Horn looks like he found a new hero in Bad Coop, oblivious to the fact that Bad Coop may or may not be his father. The Fusco trio gets news that Dougie Jones Prince got a hit as an individual who was a former FBI agent who escaped a high-security prison 2 days ago. They laugh at the error and throw the info away, costing two of the Fuscos $1 each. Tony creeps in and he's looking for Detective Clark. The Fuscos guide him outside, and Tony asks Clark for some undetectable poison to keep their scam a secret. Clark doesn't like this. He tells Tony it will cost him $5,000, and then he later informs a buddy that Tony is cracking. They want Duncan to know about this. Hutch and Chantel are driving through Utah talking about Mormons, and presumably they're on their way to Vegas for the doubleheader. Janey-E drops Cooper off to work in her nice new car. Tony intercepts Cooper and offers to buy him some coffee. Cooper gladly accepts, and they begin drinking coffee together when the aroma of cherry pie draws Cooper away. Here's his chance. Tony drops the poison in Coop's mug. Coop comes back, and he's mesmerized by what appears to be dandruff on Tony's jacket. He begins touching his shoulders, and this causes Tony to be overcome by the guilt of what he was about to do. He apologizes and runs off to get rid of the poisoned beverage. So Coop grabs his coffee instead, and then he gets some pie too. Becky calls Shelley complaining that scumbag Steven is missing. Shelley tells her to come by for some cherry pie with ice cream and lots of whipped cream. Becky thinks that sounds tasty. Tony confesses all of his crimes to battling Bud Mullins. Of course, battling Bud already knew of all these crimes all along, so he tells Tony he has to testify against Duncan Todd and the two corrupt cops. Tony agrees and seems to genuinely want to make amends. Bobby goes to the Double R for some pie, and he winds up joining Big Ed and Norma. Bobby makes brief mention of what the Major left for them, and then a guy named Walter enters, and Ed and Bobby go to another booth. Walter helped Norma franchise the Double R, and while he has mostly good news to report, he wants her to use cheaper ingredients in her pies. Big Ed doesn't seem to care for Walter too much, apparently because Norma and Walter seem to be more than mere business colleagues. A truck drives by Nadine's drape stores and it suddenly stops and backs up. Nadine is typing away when the door rings. She answers, and holy shit, it's the good Dr. Jacoby. Nadine is overjoyed and Jacoby is flattered that she's such a big fan who owns her very own shit-digging shovel. Jacoby then informs Nadine that he hadn't seen her since the day of the big storm when she was crawling around on all fours in search of a potato. Sarah Palmer is drinking and smoking, and her television set is looping a clip from an old boxing match. Is that a young battling Bud? The start of the loop is accompanied by an electrical sound. Sarah either doesn't notice or doesn't care about the looping boxing footage. But something really fucking weird is going on at the Palmer house. Audrey is crying and wants to know what Tina said. Charlie wants her to stop. They've been over this. Audrey says she feels like she's someone else. She doesn't know who she is or what she's supposed to do, and Charlie reminds her she's supposed to go to the roadhouse to look for Billy. Charlie thinks Audrey is acting like someone on drugs, and she makes a funny reference to Ghostwood. Then there is a new musical number at the Roadhouse by James Hurley? That's a familiar tune. Oh my, this is cool. And a lovely young lady thinks so too, and she's mesmerized by how cool James is. Even James himself seems overcome with emotion by how cool he is. And part ends with a sad Big Ed all alone eating soup. The big takeaways for me this week: Number 1, Sarah Palmer. I have no idea what's going on with her, but whenever her character is on screen, it absolutely commands your full attention, and it always exudes a sense of horrifying intrigue. It seems clear to me that there is some type of presence in her house, and that she's one of the few special individuals who can perceive this presence that's haunting her. I could be wrong here, but I think whatever's going on, this definitely goes well beyond the grieving stage from her tragic loss that started it all. Number 2, who's killing who? Right now, Duncan Todd wants Cooper dead, and he's soon going to want Tony dead too. Detective Clark and the other cop are going to want Tony dead. Meanwhile, Hutch and Chantel appear to be en route to the doubleheader in Vegas. I assume they will be attempting to kill Duncan and Cooper. Meanwhile, Cooper has some loyal allies in the Mitchum brothers and battling Bud. Will Duncan get to Tony before Hutch and Chantel get to Duncan? How will Detective Clark and his colleague fit in? Will the Mitchum brothers be partying with Dougie when Hutch and Chantel go after him? Or will all these building tensions be diffused in some other fashion? I have no idea, but it seems like we're headed for a big battle in Vegas. Number 3, why the fuck was Ray so willing to go along with placing his fate in the arm wrestling contest? He already gunned Dad Cooper down, so a bunch of creepy-ass woodsmen materialize, perform a spooky ritual, and then Ray even got a glimpse of Bob's face in that bubble. Now he sees Bad Coop is alive and well, and he seems unusually calm about all this. How the hell did he think this was going to turn out well for him? Number 4, Big Ed. I get the sense he's going to be the one that gets the first glimpse of Bad Coop returning to Twin Peaks. And I reckon Bad Coop will do the best job he can to try and deceive Big Ed into thinking he's the real Cooper. And that's the biggest takeaway for me. Number 5, I think Bob is indeed still with Bad Cooper. I wasn't really sure about any of this after the resurrection scene. I thought Bob may have left, but Bad Coop seems to be utilizing special powers beyond the scope of any mere mortal. So he either still has a partnership with Bob, and or he got some kind of a power boost from the Woodsman friends. Either way, it seems he finally has the coordinates he wants, and I believe he will soon be in Twin Peaks. And on that note, I'm now more convinced than ever that Diane isn't working with Bad Coop. He still wanted the information from Ray, so I'm thinking they definitely don't have a direct line of contact, meaning Diane and Bad Coop. I thought that Part 13 was another absolute powerhouse. The Conga Line, the arm wrestling, the new elite level gym set. Wonderful stuff. And I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm itching to see Part 14. I'm just itching to see it. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching and have a great night, everyone.